What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Foplatocha, and today we are reviewing the Hoka One One Mach 4 after 200 plus miles, and we're going to go over what's good, what's not working right now, and just kind of give you my thoughts on it at this point in time. Spoiler alert, pretty good thoughts so far. So before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. You guys know how this goes. Love you very much. Without further ado, here comes the intro clip, so turn your volume down. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's begin officially. So, with the Hoka One One Mach 4, I'm going to leave the specs wherever they fit, probably on this side of the screen. Let me tell you first what the bottoms or the outsoles of the shoes look like at this point in time. We are 200 plus miles according to Strava, and this is what they look like. So this is the left foot, and that's the right foot. So, also that's the heel areas if you wanted to see them as well. Of course, we start with the right foot as always because of how weird running in the city of Chicago and my particular running form are on slanted roads. As you can see in this point in time, I've really polished out the outsole material, which is of course a much more dense kind of foam, and it hasn't quite hit the ProFly spongy foam at this point in time. And at 200 plus miles, this shoe is still kicking, and that's a really good thing because, again, if you guys have been watching my videos, I destroy shoes like really quickly when I'm running in them, whether it just be this bad form, the trails in Chicago, whatever the case is. I tend to destroy shoes a little bit before the mark of when the average wear and tear kind of starts occurring, where some people get like twice the distance and whatnot. But the other trick is here's like my average running pace is sometimes like 7 minutes flat, if not a little bit faster. So leaning on the faster end of things, like the shoes will get worn out more quickly and more frequently, for me at least. And because of that, I need a shoe that has a lot of longevity, that has the daily trainer status, and has preferably like a more perhaps a higher stack height than usual, just to have some more material for me to burn and kind of go through. And in this case, with the Mach 4, it is definitely a higher stack height than most usual shoes. And as you can see, the outsole is still holding on, and even like when we look on the side of the shoe, even though it is kind of getting burnt on the front there, there's still a lot of material to go before it actually hits this ProFly midsole area, I would say, and I like that a lot, that it still hasn't quite hit that area. And unlike something like the Pegasus Turbo 2, which would go flat after about 200 plus miles, regardless of what you burn on the shoe because of just the foam fatigue, there's still a lot of fight in this shoe, and I love it for that reason. So when I was in Silverthorne, this was my daily trainer, and I was using it in the mountains, despite the fact that running out in the mountains was extremely tumultuous. It was difficult for breathing, at least. Just the endurance and all that was just kind of rough out there, but I digress. The shoe was definitely helping me just kind of carry on if I could push. It wasn't feeling flat. It wasn't adding any additional stress to my running that was unnecessary to running out there. And also, here's another kicker, and this is probably going to explain why the shoe itself is also a little bit more worn than usual, is that I took my very first mountain trail run in the Mach 4s. And the reason for that was I knew that because of the stack height and because of the material on the shoe, it would protect my feet if I took like a weird step or anything like that. Now you might be wondering, because I did have the 1080 version 11s with me, why didn't I choose those? They are very stable, I agree on that front, but the issue is that I have more experience in the Mach 4s than that shoe. So despite it having the stability and the material, it just felt easier to run in a shoe that I had a little more confidence with, that had a lot more material on that case. So in this particular instance, Mach 4 was good to go. It's a road running shoe, not a trail runner, so personally I don't recommend it, but it was still fun regardless. I did it, I thought it was okay. It just, you know, if you're not experienced in mountain trail running, don't push those buttons, I suppose. So anyways, what else is working well? Of course, as I mentioned this before, 2 points actually. One, this is definitely a good, I would say, successor, in my opinion, to the Pegasus Turbo 2, despite it not being in the Nike family and having just a slightly different build. But overall, the principles of having a very reactive foam and a very responsive, fast foam in this midsole area here, and then having the lower outsole be a much more dense, more durable foam, I guess you can say, is ultimately helping the shoe with its longevity and having a good spring every time you run with it. And I like the snap that this shoe provides that has a similar feel to the Pegasus Turbo 2. And of course the second thing I like is because the Alpha Fly is my race shoe. This shoe's specs, minus the Air Zoom pockets, is very similar. It's very similar in weight, if not a little bit less, I believe. This one's probably about 7 ounces, whereas the Alpha Fly is like 8.5. And then of course the stack height is also almost exactly the same, where it's a 35 millimeter in the heel and 30 in the forefoot, where I think the Alpha Fly might be like 39 and 34, but it's still about a 5 millimeter offset, and that's what you want to practice with, is that 4 to 5 millimeter area of having a more neutral kind of landing rather than that high heel from an 8 or a 10 millimeter. I digress. So those are the things that are working so far with this shoe. At 200 plus miles, I'm going to say that this shoe is probably going to last for another 100 before I expect it to start doing some weird stuff where it may start feeling flat, it may start feeling busted. I haven't ripped the outsole at all. As you can see, it is quite dirty from, of course, running in the mountains, having a lot of dirt, a lot of gravel and all that out there, but ultimately the shoe is holding up a lot better than I thought it was, and I'm still standing by my statements that this is a good Pegasus Turbo 2 successor, and it's still a great training buddy to the Alpha Fly. So at this point in time, I don't know. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you like the video, you like my assessment, definitely leave it also as a thumbs up on this video. And that's really all I've got at this point in time. I mean, this was such a good shoe to take to Colorado. I had a fun time with it. It was excellent. It was reliable. That's the most important piece of any kind of running shoes, that you have something reliable. And I would definitely buy another pair as soon as this one dies out. Probably just a different color because, you know, we got to experiment with the different colors because every color scheme is faster than the other. So this is a pretty crazy color scheme. I think their yellow and like beige and like navy scheme was pretty awesome. So we'll have to experiment with that as well. But yeah, I'm going to end the video here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.